paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello and welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery, the one podcast that has no banned words. We will say whatever we want
That's not
here,
true.
and no one will censor us.
Our editor censors more than enough.
Our editor does not censor.
Yeah, we can't say or
No.
and if JJ doesn't go through and post and blur out my mouth and make a beeping noise, I'll sound crazy.
Good point. Well, welcome
Good
into
point.
the show, everybody. It's been yet another week
I just
of
did a
drama.
physical bit that someone has to do 90% of the work on, and I feel good about that.
That's why people should go to
I did the-
youtube.com/brainstorm brewery so they can understand the physical bits. I had a physical bit last week that I think was silent, so that was a little bonus there solely for the YouTube watchers. Just saying.
Yeah, physical bits are the best, man. Carrot Top still selling out county fairs, so don't tell me that physical comedy doesn't
Surely
rule.
Carrot Top is just killing it in Vegas or something, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like for 70-year-olds?
100%. Carrot Top just one of the casinos just booked him for years, and he's just like, hey, look at me, props. I gotta give him, even though he's got a lot, I gotta give him props. I think Carrot Top is a good entertainer, and he seems like a decent dude, and he's never made me laugh.
What about the movie, man?
Chairman of the board.
That's the one.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald already destroyed that movie. Although I did actually watch it though. Like, so who's dumber? Carrot Top for making the movie, or me for watching it when I should have known better?
Well, you know what's crazy about people like Carrot Top in this sense? Having been around a lot of smaller movie sets, small budget movies, but still, feature movies, there are people who have what you might consider embarrassing film careers, but that embarrassing movie you know about is still a movie you know about. Mm-hmm. So these people then are still treated like royalty on the set of whatever $2 million budget movie they're shooting in Oklahoma.
You're the worst actor I've ever heard of.
But you have
heard of me.
Yes. Yep. Like, for instance, I'm going to name some names of people who came through here, and I don't know what their names are, but the main character from Starship Troopers.
Oh my God, you're not naming people.
But I am.
The
Listen,
guy who played Johnny Rico.
It'll make sense. The main, yes.
Troopers? Are you talking
Clip
Michael
it.
Ironside
Johnny
or
Rico.
Clancy
Clip
Brown?
it. I'm gonna name some names without
Jake
naming names.
Busey?
But we're going to
Denise
get there.
Richards?
We're
I
going to
can
get
name
there.
a lot of people except that guy. So it's Casper.
It is
Van-
Casper. It's Casper DN or something.
God damn, I was like, I don't know that ass's name, and then I 100% know that's his name. Wasn't he in Rollerball too or something?
I don't know, man. But for instance, that guy shot a movie here. He was
I do know lots of-
huge deal. Right? So
I was like, you know what, DJ, it's legit. Like, I've seen Starship Troopers, and I don't know that Casper something. Casper Van Sant or something like that. Yeah, cool.
yeah.
Starship Troopers rules. I like Paul Verhoeven.
I watched that think the other day. The movie is great. But yeah, it's people like at that level, where they had a thing 20 years ago and now they're making a movie here and they think they are the...
Well, they're making a
Wild.
movie.
I understand.
So, listen, making a movie is dumb. And in order to make a movie without going, oh my God, why am I doing this? You need to tell yourself that it's awesome and you're awesome.
Well, look,
Otherwise-
Oklahoma has a very good rebate program.
Yeah.
So it actually is awesome to shoot movies in Oklahoma.
Oh, Michigan used to, and then we got a Republican governor, and then nobody makes movies here anymore.
It's
Super
unlucky
cool.
because
Thanks.
it's very cheap. The rebate's very good here. Works out very well for my friends in the industry.
Yeah.
And it's not something you'd expect to exist, but there's, a little thriving community of it in Oklahoma and other states that have that sort of thing. So Come shoot your magic shows here. That's what I'm saying.
You know, the hotbed of competitive magic.
Do you guys even have all 5 basic land types for like a setting to shoot in? I mean, I know you have planes. I know you have planes.
Uh-huh.
That's
Well,
down. That's down.
What is
they
a
do-
fracking pool where all the chemicals slowly turn into salt as that
That's-
tainted water enters the biosphere?
Is that a swamp?
Is that not an island? I would think the fracking holes themselves are swampy. I actually don't know. You have
The fissures that are created make
there's-
inland mountains.
Listen, so there's like a little city. I say city. There's a little town here. It's like an old timey town where they still have their main street set up as an old timey main street or whatever. From I
I'm
don't
picturing
know.
like a Wild West cartoon.
Are we
No,
talking-
no.
are
It's
we
more like
talking-
the if you're filming a football movie in the 1960s or something,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
The whole
okay.
town
And then
shuts
all the-
down
And
from
all
the
the people
diner.
are like the first black football player joins the high school team, and everyone in the town's calling them the N word, and they're like, "Man, pay those extras." They're like, "Extras? No, they were just here while we were shooting."
This town has a thing set up, and there's a whole industry in that place in Nowhere, Oklahoma, because it's just set up to. They've got they're set up with all the location managers in the state, and it's the perfect setting for the period pieces that want to come shoot.
You said it's in Nowhere, Oklahoma, which reinforces my mental perception of you living in the Courage the Cowardly Doghouse. Like, anytime you've actually talked about where you live, I just have a mental picture of that house with the little windmill.
I've been to his house. Corbin has neighbors. You can see his neighbor's house if you stand in his driveway. Guess what
Don't
else?
break my...
The street is paved. My own father doesn't live on a paved road, so we can shit on Corbin if we want to.
And we will.
But Corbin doesn't have Amish neighbors the way my dad does. So you know what? Maybe I should.
That's true. My mom has Amish neighbors too. My mom this week very proudly pronounced that she bought a MyPillow product, and they don't teach you how to deal with that in school.
No, they don't.
They teach you a lot of things. That's not one of them.
I learned a lot of things. Like, speaking of Paul Verhoeven, another director I like is Jodorowsky, who almost made a Dune movie. There's a cool documentary called Jodorowsky's Dune. One movie he did make was called The Holy Mountain. And listener, friend of the cast, a guy who hooked Corbin up with a job, ginger ale connoisseur Hunter Slayton actually sent me a beer from the Holy Mountain Brewery. This is their black beer dark ale, and all of Holy Mountain's stuff has a real Jodorowsky's Holy Mountain feel to it. That's a real crazy artsy movie. It's seeing it non-sober will definitely enhance the experience, but if you just watch it sober, it's a pretty third eye opening. So I really like that aesthetic, and having a whole brewery dedicated to, you know, that kind of stuff out in Seattle is pretty cool. So Hunter sent me a beer from Holy Mountain and asked me to shout out Levin and Noah, his 5-year-old boy and 2-year-old girl. Dad says you're great, Levin and Noah. I asked him what he would like me to plug. It's like, what could I give more publicity to? Is there a project you're working on? What's most important to you? And he said his 2 kids, which tells me his kids are very different from mine. Because he's proud of them. No, I'm just kidding. No, I get the impulse. So, Levin and Noah, your dad's a big fan. And thank him for being a fan of the cast. And Hunter, thank you for the brew. I'm going to enjoy it while we record this podcast. And if you would like me to say your name and plug something on this cast, just send me a beer. That's it. Get my address. Send me a beer. I'll say what you want me to say, man. It's a good deal and you should take it.
There you go. All right. Well, let's start things off with the drama of the week, and we'll keep it brief. And there's been a little Reddit revolution, one might put it, over the past week due to the use of
this is like
the
part
word
2 of last week's podcast. Right?
Well, and part
Last
3,
week-
if you go back to the episode we had with Sheepwave. right? I think we've actually covered sort of this evolving problem better than probably anywhere else out there. So we've had the right people on to talk about it. So for those who don't know, Jake Fitzsimons came on the cast last week, talked about how he was not able to post on Reddit anymore because he had written the word proxy, and he felt strongly enough about it.
He wrote PR*XY.
Yep. He got permanently banned for that. Wrote an article about it. Turns out he was not the only person who had been sort of, stifled. And it was a whole thing. So all over the word proxy, which of course is a loaded word in Magic because it often goes hand in hand with counterfeits. However, they are in fact very different things. And Wizards uses proxies as official. Yes.
They are very different things. Sometimes.
Yes. Wizards uses very official language about proxies. They mean certain things. And in the context, for instance, Jake was using it. It was yeah, sure, no one really cares if you just write on a card Gaia's Cradle or whatever, right? But yeah, due to the way the discourse has gone online, it's gotten so toxic to the point that it became the MTG main character everywhere for a couple days.
It made it to the r/subreddit drama subreddit.
I gotta say, Reddit was pretty funny throughout all of it.
Yeah, because it was funny. Nobody really was going to say anything, but as soon as Jake kind of tore off the Band-Aid, they kept taking his article down. But when that happened, every Reddit post at that point was a meme.
Yep.
Memeing on the fact that somebody was banned for basically saying that proxies exist. And I don't know. It was a silly policy. I almost told Jake not to write the article because I kind of thought he would just message the mods and they would be like, oh, yeah, we have a filter and the filter caught you. And he said he would be very nice and he would even be willing to grovel. So the fact that he groveled and said, I've been active in this sub for almost a decade and one of the Reddit mods still told him to eat, precipitated an uprising, I guess. So we accidentally a coup. We're sorry, but we're not sorry because the one moderator of the subreddit that was wielding this power just kind of got on the nerves of all the other mods, and some mods walked today. One mod banned the offending mod, and then some of those mods came back. It was a weird day.
Go to commandersherald.com.
My favorite part of the whole thing was when somebody posted a quote from a judge rulebook and they had to redact. It was something redacted, something redacted when referencing cards getting water damaged and being replaced by PROXYs at sanctioned events.
Somebody went back to this a moment in Magic history when judges had to issue proxies for Nexus of Fate at GP Orlando a few years ago. If you remember, the Nexus of Fates curled because they were buy box promos, and the only way to get them was in foil. So they were curling. So at the Pro Tour as well, judges were literally just writing Nexus of Fate on basic lands, proxy, putting them into players' decks, and that was what happened, including on camera. So, but it's funny because you posted it in the sub and banned. You mentioned it. So yes, Jason's right. It all became a meme, and it seems like silly drama. But it's not because
it was.
Well, it is, but also this has caught proxy artists, legitimate ones, getting banned. We've had Sheepwave on this cast. We've been friends with Proxy Guy forever. There's a very legitimate thing, and now Wizards has even hired proxy artists to make secret layers. You just can't have a policy like that to the point where it's literally damaging the income of artists that Wizards has hired, being banned on the sub. It's just ridiculous. So it's interesting. So it's it'll doesn't matter financially. I don't know.
This isn't a finance podcast.
It's not a finance podcast. This is a Magic the Gathering lifestyle podcast, and our lifestyle is f***ing up a whole subreddit with something one of our writers did, and that feels good.
It didn't feel bad. I'll say that. That's right.
If there's any Band-Aid I want to rip off, it's the fact that it's the concept of this being a finance podcast or magic related.
Yeah, but the only people who care whether it's a finance podcast are the people who won't listen to it because they think it's a finance podcast. So, like, I think our readers know.
I just want to be a
Readers?
magic adjacent podcast.
Magic adjacent. Well, let's do that then. Let's
Listeners.
go finance adjacent here with Breaking Bulk.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
They're called listeners.
Yes, they are.
Or
Jason,
viewers.
sure. Definitely not
Are-
readers though, unless they're reading closed captions. on
Consumers. Can we call them consumers?
YouTube. No, unless they're at Patreon, which
They
they
consume
should be.
content.
That's
Which
true.
they
go
should
to-
be, for the
Yeah.
record. Patreon.com/BSB. I have to say, inflation exists and it's been tough on everybody, including us, and we want to make sure our editors are getting paid. Please support us on Patreon, everybody.
Or Twitch.
Or twitch.tv/
There's no such thing as a Patreon Prime, but there is a Twitch Prime.
True.
We want
Like, okay, imagine if somebody just walked up to your front door every month and gave you a magical $5 bill that disappeared at the end of the month. You don't want to waste that, right? Like, you'd be a cruel person to just wipe your butt with that magical $5 bill that can only be spent on certain things.
Well, look,
And-
the best part of it is that magical $5 bill can only be given. It only has value if you give it away. And
Right,
that's actually,
yeah,
it's
true.
amazing. It's actually the only
You
good
have to
thing
spend
Jeff
it on a
Bezos has
product.
ever done. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Just think of all the people that pee in a bottle because they can't take a break. Because if they're away from their computer for more than 5 minutes, it'll beep at them, and they could get fired for that. So those people don't pee all day so that you can have that $5. You're just gonna let it go down the drain like their pee would if they were allowed to go anywhere with plumbing? Is that what you're gonna do?
Twitch.tv/Brainstorm Brewery, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. EST, and we will be returning to Monday streams soon once I am a bit more recovered, but
Yeah, his legs too to play Raft.
2 days a week. Listen, there's so much fall damage in that game, it's ridiculous.
He's had flashbacks.
Dude, he's actually method acting. So, got a little too into the raft. All right, let's play Breaking Bulk, you guys.
I have a plane shift uncommon that is colorless.
I bet you do. I don't care. What's that plane shift?
It's the one that everyone thinks is plane chase, but
Is
isn't.
it?
It has an
Is
old
it? Is
border.
it the art of? It's okay. So plane shift. It's the
Plane shift is the
swirly.
one Terminate was in.
It's the swirly.
Yeah.
So plane shift was Terminal Moraine in that set?
Bam! That was fast.
Nice, nice. I know that card actually.
Terminal Moraine is a colorless land. Colorless as a colorless, but you can pay to and tap it to search for basic land.
This
put
was
it
your
in play
Breaking
tap.
Bulk in 2017. This is
It was very, very cheap in 2017. It spiked in 2019, and I don't really know why. I did check EDH as you're supposed to do, and I couldn't figure it out. It spiked from 20 cents to like $3 around War of the Spark and Ultimate Masters, and it
some
just-
YouTuber probably.
that's what I was thinking. It probably saw like a budget content thing, like kind of like in the same vein as like Cold Steel Heart and those what's the other one? The 1 mana Wayfarer's Bauble.
Yeah.
Like those cards just spike sometimes, like because they're very, very cheap and affordable, and then they see a screen time on a 50,000 subreddit or subscriber YouTuber, and then they get bought out very quickly, one person at a time. It's crept all the way down to like $1, so it's still very pickable, still something you'll find. I believe the most common deck it sees played now is mono red landfall and like Morog, because it's a red way to get multiple lands in play per turn for combat steps. But it's just something you pick and you just chuck it off for. See, I generally list them for like 99 cents. They go on direct sometimes. It's just one of those cards, and it is the only printing, which is weird. This is the kind of thing that you would probably chuck in a pre-con somewhere, and I'm surprised it's not.
Okay. All right. I've got, excuse me, a red common from Judgment.
Is it an aura?
Swirling Sandstorm?
No.
Is it the Prodigal Sorcerer enchantment?
No.
Is it book burning?
No.
Is it a creature?
Does it have Threshold?
No.
Is it a creature?
Was that a no to Jason or me?
All of you.
Is it a firebolt?
No.
Does it have flashback?
Yes.
Is it lava dart?
No.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, my goodness. It's a red common with flashback that's not Firebolt.
Uh-huh.
I don't think Firebolt's worth anything, but Lava Dart was a good guess.
It's an instant.
Lava Dart's in Onslaught, I think. It's a red instant with flashback. Does it do damage? Or is it the thing that creatures can't block?
Flaring Pain.
It's Flaring Pain.
Oh, nice. Good one.
It took me a while. That's a good one.
Damage can't be prevented this turn.
I don't know what made me think of it. It just came to me eventually, but
Well, I can tell you what made me think of it. It was Zach on Twitter at the deck sent me this one, said he loved the show and wanted to ship this suggestion in for Breaking Bulk. It's more than
Of course it's not one of
15
yours.
cents buy list. So
I was reading like Innistrad Crimson Vow commons and uncommons today while I was like in pain, prepping and studying for one of your Breaking Bulks, and then he
Right?
threw a curveball from like the early 2000s, and I
you
was
picked
just
a
like,
card from before DJ was born. That's crazy.
yeah. I was like, oh, this is a different one, but I still got it. It took me a while, but I still got it.
I don't know if that counts. You guys had to have a lot of hints, but you did get there. So nice work, and yeah, nice suggestion. If you do have a
if by a
Breaking
lot of
Bulk out
hints you
there,
mean I narrowed
send
it
me on
down
Twitter.
with 3 or 4 really solid guesses. Arcane Teachings is the thing I was thinking of, by the way. The whatever.
Jason, what do you got?
Oh, I have a card with 2 printings, originally from Planar Chaos. It is a white uncommon.
White Mane Lion?
No, that's common.
Pull from Eternity? Was that Time Spiral?
Pull from
or no?
Eternity was Future Sight.
Okay.
Okay, hold up. I was updating the spreadsheet. What's the card, Jason? What is it? A white what?
You almost got me to say the name of it. It is a white Planar Chaos uncommon.
Sunlance?
That's a good guess. It's not Sunlance.
Manatithe.
Manatithe was... Oh, yeah, that was Planar Chaos, wasn't it? That's common.
Salt Blast, or is it like one of the kill spells, like where you tap 3 white creatures or whatever?
No, it's not Salt Blast. That's a pretty decent guess, too. But this card's actually $2 and it has 2 printings.
What's the other printing?
Time Spiral Remastered, which is very recent. You're going to feel like horses' asses. You might not even know this card exists.
Rebuff the Wicked?
Rebuff the Wicked. Counter target spell that targets a permanent you control.
That card's cool.
It is good. I was considering Lapse of Certainty, which is a $1 common.
That was
in
Shards of
Conflux.
Alara, right?
Conflux.
Yeah. Not shards. It was
Whatever.
shards block. Yeah.
Conflux.
White counter spells get played because nobody sees them coming. It's very funny to Dawn Charm something that was going to like target you, or Lapse of Certainty. Manatithe was not a bad guess because I've played Manatithe before, and it's very funny. People tap out in front of white players. They shouldn't. You could get rebuffed.
I think most of those counterspells should see more play. Like, I know Twitter's been up in arms about deflecting SWAT and Bolt Bend recently. Like, those are both fine. Rebuff the Wicked, all those they're just so efficient.
I'm writing about charms today for cool stuff because they have a new cycle of charms, and I think some are good and some are bad. But in general, a charm can occupy 3 different card slots in your deck if all of those modes are good. But usually you have a main mode, like Rakdos Charm, you're trying to kill the token player, but emptying someone's graveyard or blowing up an artifact is real good. So
I feel like Rakdos Charm has 3 main modes. That's the best charm in the entire game. I love that card. So
Rakdos,
very good one.
I've actually almost won games with all 3 modes. I almost won a game up emptying someone's graveyard and getting them with Immortal Coil, but then she had a Bant Panorama.
So
Or a Naya
Jason-
Panorama. I was like, that's not even a good card. It was
Jason,
hilarious.
is it viable to build a Charms deck in Commander, or is that just like a dumb meme?
They have Cody now. You can play Cody the Codex.
Look, I won't lie. It looks pretty fun with Cody the Codex.
Yeah, if there's a payoff for it. But the thing about Charms is I don't run a lot of instants and sorceries because I don't like them. I like to play an enchantment and get something out of it every turn. So if I am going to run an instant or sorcery, I want to try to... When most people run like 11, I try to run like 6. And if I have something that has a lot of modes on it, that's probably better. So I'm liking that new Capenna's got 5 charms. I bet 2 of them will be good.
Yeah, we're talking about the charms here. Look, we'll get to the spoilers in the next couple weeks. There'll be plenty to talk about there.
Do we know what 4 of them or 5 of them are?
Doesn't matter.
I think 3 right now, but yeah, we'll hopefully know all of them next week. Because they, outside of the Grixis one, they look like they're pretty good so far. So I'd say the bar is definitely up there. And that might matter because there was an organized play announcement. It was the big organized play announcement everyone was waiting on last week. Finally, we get to talk about it. The Pro Tour is back. Magic Fest-ish are kind of back at DreamHack. There's going to be regional events across the world, which feed into a 3 worldwide Pro Tours a year. The formats are going to be Modern, Pioneer, and Standard, and I think they said Limited as well. Dust off those Pioneer cards, folks. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway. And look, we've been talking about this for a year and a half here in the pandemic, but events are coming back, and those events are in paper, and the future of Magic is in paper again because a Magic Arena is going to be feeding into these events, but the biggest events are going to be in paper.
Can we
and
talk
that's
about
the
how
world we're going to be living in?
Can we talk about how they used COVID as a scapegoat for killing their own programs? That was the funniest part of that entire day for me.
They seized an opportunity.
Yeah,
they're like, COVID killed our tournament circuit. Darn those viral particles. Don't look at our tweets from 2019. Please, God, do not use Twitter's advanced search.
This is real Bush did 9/11 right now.
What?
Got some real Bush did 9/11 vibes.
No. That was
the crazy thing there is Bush actually did 9/11, so.
I mean,
that's the main difference. I don't think WotC did COVID because they would have fucked up the release somehow.
Somebody would have found the somebody.
Bush only did 9/11 if you're a real big fan of the transitive property, like.
Yeah. So look, context for what DJ is talking about here is back in 2019, Wizards decided to go all in on Arena when it was out in beta and was popular. And the result of that was a scrapped transition season that they had talked about, a full-on rush to esports in the Magic Pro League and the Rivals League, and left a whole lot of people. It might even just been the Magic Pro League that first year. Left a whole lot of people who had the previous year been what would be considered professional Magic players who were gold level, grinding for platinum, getting paid to go across the world and do well in Magic tournaments. And they were very close. And those people just got dropped. People were literally 1 point away from the MPL. MPL gets $75,000 and big tournaments to play in. And the people outside of that got nothing. That's the context and why there's so much negativity and bad feelings associated with sort of the history of this. And to DJ's point, they did the point to COVID as being a major problem for their tabletop
plans. They pointed to COVID
plans.
as being the only problem.
Yeah. So that happened. But look, in the new world, Magic is coming back. It's coming back to DreamHack, which is a large established brand across North America, and I believe
my understanding of the
world
DreamHack thing is that the Magic section of those events will be very small. That's my limited understanding of those specific events.
Yeah, I mean, I think surely they're going to have scale plans, right? So, like, if 500 to 1,000 people show up wanting to play Commander in their Command Zone area, I bet they find some more tables. You know, so I guess we'll see. It seems like it's going to be it's an odd pairing in the sense that it's just weird that before the pandemic, they had Channel Fireball, a sort of endemic Magic company doing this. and now they're having DreamHack doing it when we're not esports anymore, I guess. Would have made more sense if they were running arena events at those places. But so look, it's a little bit of an odd pairing here. But hey, at this point, I think most people are just happy to have Magic paper events back, the Pro Tour back. We're going to go play Commander again with friends. Hopefully there'll be content again. So one thing we don't know, if these events at DreamHack are not huge, then we might be kind of having that Magic Fest gap, which in turn might mean a gap in dealers showing up by the dozens to buy cards every other weekend across North America and Europe.
I do think
I
that,
cannot imagine if WotC relaxes their blanket no tournament policy that like it won't immediately. There won't be like a ton of NRG type events until WotC's like, all right, let's just do a big thing.
So
Right?
the thing about the large scale event stuff, and Michael Caffrey's talked about a little bit about this. He's the owner of Tales of Adventure. From like a logistics standpoint, there's a very, very small number of people on like you can count on like a single hand that can like run that kind of event. And like in the past 3 years, a lot of them have just moved on to other jobs.
Yep, or their company dissolved.
Yeah, so it's just like when you think about the logistics and planning and like lead time of like renting out the entire convention center for Indiana and like all of the actual like shipping and like just actual event, like if you just take Magic out of the equation and you just think of it from like a planning standpoint and like just managing that number of people to be in a convention center and like run the whatever Wizards event reporter thing they use now. I don't know what it is, but I know that there's a very archaic system they use, and like there's just a whole issue with that kind of thing. So I don't think we'll go back to like me going to 3 GPs a month. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
I think you're right. And I mean, look, look, a lot of the judges who sort of do this stuff in the background still exist and still work. And those companies, they're not, I mean, they're still Cascade Games, they're still Pastimes, they're still
right. But it's going to be like SCG circuit style and not like 5,000 people in Vegas style.
Right. Well, that's what, yeah, there are companies that could run this stuff, but it might go back to being one MTG Vegas with CFB a year, and it's just the CFB in Vegas thing, right? And it's not a GP attached to it. It's just a Magic event. It just is what it is. Or there might be more stuff, we'll see. So I think that they're probably not done with, I mean, I have to assume that there will be more Commander-centric events because, remember, they were doing Command Fests and experimenting with that, which seemed successful right before the pandemic. So I have to imagine more events like that are probably in the future too. But yeah, we'll see. But for now, if you are trying to grind, if you're a competitive Magic player, I think it matters again. The path looks good. There's ways to sort of get invites, stay on the train. Even the Hall of Fame has a role again. It seems like professional Magic, the Pro Tour, is back. And in general, I'm pretty excited about it. I think most of the coverage team is. And we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed on that. But financially, it means that lots of modern Pioneer cards are going to be relevant again. And if paper is what we're talking about being what matters, you've got 2 years of a black hole of paper cards that are going to be relevant in Pioneer, where no one was at a store.
Hot lists are going to look really weird.
Oh yeah, because it's like
Yeah.
what we are out of stock of is less predictable than you might think.
Yep, different world. So I mean, it does seem though at this point, we talked at the beginning of the pandemic a lot about how when the events went away, the ecosystem for selling cards to dealers who then turned around and sold them online went away. It's 2 years on now. The market has adapted, whether it's better or more efficient or whatever. Listen, we're talking about DJ. Look, we're talking about large companies with sorting machines that are listing thousands of copies. There's just not a situation where we were at 3 years ago. Right?
Okay, so in terms of adapted, you're talking about companies adapting. And
the market has moved on. So it's not, I don't think, what I'm saying is, I don't think it's reasonable to think that you say, hey, the pandemic's over, we're going to go back to the way things were immediately beforehand. I'm just saying that the market has moved on.
Okay, so like I was under the perception that you were sort of talking about like card prices have adapted. And that's not true. The market has
No,
not
not per
adapted
se.
because like every Magic card ever is 7 times more expensive than what you remember it from
Yep.
the last time you looked it up.
Yep. But factually, yeah, what I'm saying is factually, like if you are
Yeah.
somebody who's selling cards online right now, just by process of elimination, you have to have found a way to get cards in. And
Yeah.
it's not saying it's better, but that's where we're at now. And it's not like it's just not necessarily just plug and play with where it was 3 years ago.
Correct.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess what we're saying is take that for what you will. Look, we'll continue to follow it here. I'm sure we'll be at events in some capacity between the three of us, and we'll see what happens. But it's a brand new world of Magic organized play and everything that goes along with it.
God, Ulamog is $70. I just look at that card sometimes.
I didn't know that.
Because
I
it's a
didn't know that.
very-
I bought one yesterday.
I would have said 40.
It's a very high frequency selling card. BFZ Ulamog, for what it's worth.
Yes, the good one.
And like every time I look at that card, it's 5% more, and I look at it multiple times a day. So it's
Oh,
just
you're
one
the
of
reason
those-
I had to pay $70 because you can't stop looking at the fucking card. Just do me a favor, stop looking at shit I need.
No kidding.
I
It's-
bought 10 Eldrazi for a deck I may or may not have ready for Wednesday, so that's cool.
Yikes.
Well, if you want to see my new deck in action with my $70 Emrakul or Ulamog or Kozilek, whomever, check us out Wednesday nights on twitch.tv/Brainstorm Brewery. I'll be playing some EDH like I do every Wednesday at 9 EST because EDH is fun and it saved Magic the Gathering.
True. Very true. And now we're going to save you some money with our picks of the week.
No, we're gonna do sponsors first.
No, that was an amazing, amazing segue. Sponsored by MTGstocks.com, the best place to go to get all your Magic the Gathering card information. You can go there to see the movement on prices. That's where we get most of our picks, is by following the trends. They have allowed you to set up a premium count, which comes with advanced features, the ability to set alerts and track things to a greater extent. They can follow along with the prices of sealed product. Anything you want in terms of the Magic market, which, look, as we're talking about, is constantly evolving, you can find it at mtgstocks.com. There you go, DJ. The flawless transition from Segway to mtgstocks.com is the best, as they are. Now back to Pick of the Week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
And I'm going to start things off with a brand new card from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Lion Sash. It's $2. Looks like it's probably bottoming out with Kamigawa out. It's a Pioneer card. It's a modern card. It's a Scavenging Ooze with upside, essentially. Very, very, very powerful white card, Lion Sash. $2. Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Pick them up. You can also get the, take your pick for $1, a couple dollars more. You can get alternate versions, which, are going to behave similarly.
I also have a white card. Mine is Karmic Guide, but specifically the Secret Lair version. I have gotten a decent amount of Secret Lair cards in collections recently over the past month or two. And a lot of those cards are more expensive than you'd think they are. It's like, how much is... Lightning Greaves can't be that much from the Secret Lair. Oh god, it's expensive. And a lot of that is because the Secret Lairs aren't purchased nearly as much as I think people think they are.
Yeah.
And then time goes by and people discover them later. The Karmic Guides, or the Secret Lair version of Karmic Guide, is only like $3.
Which one is that from?
It is from
Like
Johan
the
Voss's
Secret
art-
Lair Uwu or whatever?
No, it was
Oh,
Johan
Johan
Voss's
Voss.
art
Okay.
showcase or whatever.
yeah.
And it's got very, very beautiful art, very just gorgeous. And
It is cool.
so Karmic Guide, when you look at the foil options for this card, you have Urza's, which is just
Yeah.
very expensive. Or you have Modern Horizons 2, which is not great foiling, and the etched is very, very unpopular. They don't sell very often. And Karmic Guide as a card, as a non-foil, has been basically reprinted to dust. It is...
Yeah,
it
there is a Judge promo.
Yeah, that's I was gonna get to that.
Yeah.
Like the options for the foiling of the card are very binary. It's you either have nothing or very very expensive. And the secret lair, both the non-foil and the foil, hit a very very nice middle ground in terms of getting to use very very good art. And the card bottomed out at around 2, and it's crept up to 3 a little bit over the past couple months. This is one I would expect to hit 5 or 6 before too long. It's just, again, this is more of like a pick one up if you want it rather than a buy 70 copies kind of vibe. Some of my picks are just, if you want one, this is probably the one you want to get. So I don't recommend buying the etched foils or the bulk rare versions of Karmic Guide, because some of us remember when Karmic Guide was like a $10 card back in the Balefire Liege heyday of Magic, is what I would like to call it.
Yep.
And then some of us remember when Karmic Guide got just straight kneecapped by Modern Masters. And then it crept back up to like $4, then it got hit 7 more times. The card has been on a journey over the past 2 decades. And regular Karmic Guide is a bulk rare, but the secret lair version I think is worth picking up.
Okay, there you go. Jason, what do you got?
You're not going to believe this shit.
Mm,
It's a white card.
a white card. Wow.
White card because of light pause.
Okay.
This card has like 20 listings on TCG Player right now. It's in almost 10,000 decks on EDH Rec. It was in Commander Legends. This is Timely Ward.
Huh.
You may cast a spell as though it had flash if it targets a commander and the creature gets indestructible. So Timely Ward kind of rules. It's great on in a light pause deck, but also just like it saves creatures. It's, you know, it's just like an instant speed card for commander. It's selling out on TCG Player at like 3, but there are like $2 copies on Card Kingdom right now. But like, there's just very few listings for this cards everywhere. I think it's starting to creep up. It's in a.
This is great.
Yeah,
It's a great pick, and this should have been. Look, this thing used to be even cheaper, and it should have been one of those we might have. You keep an eye on, because the card Indestructibility, which is a 4-mana enchantment from Magic 2010 that just says enchant permanent, enchanted permanent is indestructible, is $1.50.
Oh
right?
yeah, I love picking that card out of bulk rares. It makes me feel so smart.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Timely Word is that with flash for a mana less. Of course,
does
was
not-
gonna be
it
more
only
than a bulk
targets
rare.
your commander though.
Oh, I was gonna say it does not.
If it
Indestructibility
targets
does.
the commander, yes. I understand.
Indestructibility does target all permanents. If you've ever had a conversation with somebody who targets a planeswalker with that card and then watches that planeswalker get attacked, that's a hard conversation to have with a new player. Sorry,
So
you're
we
gotta
slip
look.
over our comprehensive rules to section 27.5 of state-based
Redacted. Can't say
effects.
that word.
But so on the topic of Timely Ward, there are very few listings on TCG Player. It is worth noting how many copies on TCG Player there are. So one of the more effective ways to just sort of look at the power sellers on TCG is to filter by who has more than a playset. There's a filter on TCG for like language or listings with photos, and you can search quantity, who has 4 or more. Why is that relevant for commander cards? Well, it just shows you who the power sellers are who just have a brick of them. And
There
we
are
see
4 people with more than 4 copies.
Yeah, there's not a lot. The Gaming Co. is one. We've talked about them before. They are a very, very big powerhouse store on the East Coast. They just have warehouses full of cards that they ship through the direct platform. And then 95 MTG has 46 copies. And these copies that are on this sort of like brick wall level of quantity are like $4 copies. So that's the number that these algorithms and these just pricers have put these cards at, because they sell at that number on other platforms like Amazon or like eBay or stuff like that. So,
and it also means that Timely Ward being about $2 right now on the low end, it means that it can go up to that price without any problem. So you're looking at a card that's $2 and you see the wall is at $3.75, $4. Well, then you look, that card obviously has room to grow before it even starts flirting with that wall. And in this case, that wall's less than 100 total copies.
Right, and like this
that goes in a minute as soon as this card wins a game of Command Zone, this card has no copies.
Right, and it's not even a guessing game. You don't have to predict or bet or like make a wager. You can just look at MTG stocks. You can see, on January 17th, January 6th, all the way through February, this card is just a flat line, just a complete flat line, and then it starts going up. And yes, it would have been better to buy in at 30 cents or whatever market price last year, but like you can still get in at 2 and get out at 6 or 7.
I didn't have any faith in this card, and then they printed Wyleth, Killian, Earl the Miststalker, Catilda, you know,
Earl the Miststalker.
Well, they didn't print it, but like that's like the number 3 deck
exist,
it's played in. Yeah. But like they printed Light Paws, they printed Narika Yamazaki, so like they gave us a lot of reasons to play stuff like this. This is
It
just
turns
a
out
thing
when you
White
print
likes now?
it turns out when you print 89 commanders a set, 10% of them are going to have aura mechanics.
Yeah, and also for what it's worth, there's a pedigree for these cards that do something extra with your commander being worth a lot of money. All of the creatures that have lieutenant or whatever it is from whatever old commander set are worth money. Even I can't tell you last time I ever saw one in play.
Corbin.
Yes.
Jeweled Lotus.
Yes.
That's
What
a
about
card that has the word commander on it that is one of the top 5 selling cards on TCG, like, at all.
I mean, the card has Lotus on it. I guess I was thinking more along the lines of the if you control your commander, you can play this without paying its mana cost cycle.
Yeah,
and
how do you
the
cast that
cycle.
commander? Jeweled Lotus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, look, we are coming back next week when we'll be diving into Capenna. We've got more to talk about as we learn more about what the future of Magic looks like. We're recording this with only a little bit of information, and we will continue to bring you information, try to get some guests on who know about what's to come for the future of Paper Magic as we move forward. So everybody, thank you so much for listening to Brainstorm Brewery. Thank you, Hunter, for sending Jason a beer. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.